Hi, Ken Rosenthal. Ken, great to see you. I know you're in Minnesota. We'll get to that in a little bit, but the news comes out yesterday, really the night before, technically, about Shohei Ohtani, and we're excited to get your thoughts on how this is going to play out for him, including the free agency extravaganza that I'm sure we'll talk about quite a bit, and you wrote about it. So, what do you got for us?
First of all, Scott, we don't know how this is going to play out just yet. All we know is that he has a UCL tear. Now, Evan Drellick wrote a really interesting article, I thought, this morning, came out in The Athletic, about how if Ohtani wants to get back to being a pitcher again, the best way to do that is to follow the progression that all pitchers follow after Tommy John surgery, if indeed he undergoes Tommy John surgery. And then you have the situation where he possibly would not be hitting if indeed that is his focus, getting back to being a pitcher. This, remember, would be his revision second Tommy John surgery, so it complicates things a little bit, makes the recovery process longer, makes him perhaps required to be more diligent in that process. Not that he wasn't diligent the last time, but this is even more regimented, I guess, than it would be after a first Tommy John surgery. Now, we don't know yet if that is the course that this is going to go. He may go for an internal bracing procedure, which has become more popular in recent times, which lessens the recovery time. It's a different kind of thing. I don't know if you can do that for a revision for a second UCL tear. The other thing he could do conceivably would be simply to rehab it on his own and hopefully go about it that way. I don't know. We don't know. We don't have information on that yet. It's obviously going to be something that really dictates his future, his free agency too, because his free agency will hinge on what teams think or what he can do going forward.
Now, the biggest question is value. Where is the value decreased? What is that value to? Is 500 million too much? I mean, not Otani Judge just got 360 and he was 2 years older than him, and you kind of hit a number of 500 million. If that's a real number, what was the number gonna be? 650?
Well, we don't know, Eric. And I would have expected that if he was healthy, the number would have been over six because of just all the attention he gets, all of the demand that would be in place for him. He is a unique player in the game's history. I don't have to repeat that. Now it's different. And now it seems to me, and I wrote this yesterday, that you have to look at him as a hitter only. And if he pitches again, how much he pitches again, that would be a bonus. Now, again, I'm assuming things by saying that too. I don't know, again, what the recovery process is going to be like, but it would seem to me that you have to look at him now as a hitter first. And if he misses all of next year with hitting and pitching because he has to recover from the pitching side of it, okay, you structure a deal perhaps with that in consideration. You definitely would, actually. But I wrote this yesterday and I believe this. $500 million dollars is still realistic because of who he is, because of the marketing opportunities he gives your team, because of everything that he offers. And you made the point, Eric, and it's true. He's 2 years younger than Judge. And people say, well, can he be only a DH if he doesn't pitch again? Not necessarily. This guy can play right field or even center field. He could play any of the outfield positions. And I would imagine once he could throw again, he'd be a really good outfielder. So there is a lot of unknown here, but I just expect the demand is still going to be really high because of all that he brings and potentially brings if he can pitch again. And we have seen pitchers recover and pitch again from a torn UCL. It's happened. Jamison Tyone has done it. Nathan Eovaldi's done it. It's not easy. The success rate is not as high coming off a second injury of this kind. But we have all bet against Ohtani in the past, and we have all been wrong. Every one of us who doubted this guy has been wrong. And you have to keep that in mind when assessing his future as well.
Is there a marketability fear that he's not going to be as marketable if he's just a hitter? Because I know some of that 500 million is cooked in with his marketability numbers, but if he's just a hitter and he comes out and says, I just don't think I can do it anymore, which I doubt. I'm not in that camp. But does his marketability number go down, which pushes his number down even more?
I'm not sure, Eric. And it's funny. When I was preparing that column I wrote yesterday, I spoke with one of our writers, Andy McCullough, and we were kind of talking through it. And he said, don't forget that part. You can still sell billboards with Shohei Ohtani regardless of whether he can pitch or not. And Andy's right. Because if you think about it, right now, he's the best hitter in the game. Most home runs, highest OPS. What more do you want? That player you could market. And he, of course, is marketable not just on this continent, but in his home country of Japan, throughout Asia, and all of the world, I would imagine. So I would expect that he is still just as marketable, maybe not quite as marketable, let me correct that. But he still has that incredible magnetism and power in that regard.
Ken, I remember bringing this up years back, and I actually felt like I was somewhat on an island because I didn't hear or read much about this topic. But when he got Tommy John surgery the first time around, I was like, why isn't he getting it right now? Why is he finishing off the season? Then he ended up starting the next year late. Okay, whatever. It's a month or two. But I'm just thinking for him, if he does end up still hitting after recovering from the surgery and say he signs with Seattle, well, I want him to get that surgery now. The rest of the season's a wash. There's some individual accolades. It was cool to hear Kratz say the same exact thing at the top of the show. What are your thoughts on that front? I mean, regardless of what he's doing, if he is going to have surgery, shouldn't he be making these decisions now? The Angels season is over.
I agree, Scott. And that to me would be the wisest course. And it seems to me that they're gathering information still and trying to figure out what the proper course is. But if that surgery is required, yes, get it now, begin the process, and that way you get back to the field either as a hitter or hitter pitcher that much sooner. So I don't expect he would delay it. It was very unique the other night when, after learning that he had a torn UCL, he just decided to play the second game. And clearly, right now, the decision is that he will DH until further notice. That's what the Angels have said. We'll see how long that lasts. But he wants to play. He wants to earn his money. He wants to contribute. That's kind of who he is, right? And that's what you want. But at the same time, for his future value and simply for his recovery, yes, if he needs Tommy John surgery, sure, you want to get it done as quickly as possible.